Hi, welcome to Fantasy 8. This is Andrew here to give you my top 15 fantasy baseball third baseman rankings. Now, quick note before we start. Players like Anthony Rendon will not be on this list due to the depth at third base, and I think that he would go sooner in the draft than he should be drafted as a third baseman because of his second base eligibility. So with that in mind, my first player on this list is Josh Donaldson, who had an MVP season for the Blue Jays last year. 41 home runs, 122 runs scored, 123 RBIs. He was one of the best offensive players last year. It's hard to set himself apart in this deep third base this year, but he definitely deserves number one on this list. Number 2 on this list is Nolan Arenado, who had a big breakout season last year. In his age 24 season, he had 42 home runs, 130 RBIs. He has a chance, along with 3 other people on this list, to be number 1. It could be Bryant, Machado, Arenado, or Donaldson. His walk rate holds him down from being over Donaldson at that point, but if he can improve, he is definitely in the conversation as number 1, and I would rate him as number 1 in Dynasty Leagues. Number 3 on my list is Manny Machado, who bounced back from an injury-plagued 14 to just play great in 2015. 162 games, 35 home runs, 20 stolen bases. He also can make a case for being number 1 on this list, especially with those steals. I'd love to see him get a few more steals this season. I think 30 home runs, 25 steals is a pretty safe bet for him. Number 4 on my list is Kris Bryant, who has the potential to be number 1. I just think he's the least likely of the list of 4. Due to that strikeout rate, 199 strikeouts last year. He got 26 home runs, 99 RBIs. He's in a great lineup. I expect those home run totals to be up, the RBIs to be up. I just really would like to see the strikeouts reduce. Like so many of the young Cubs hitters besides Rizzo, they just strike out too much. Number 5 on my list is a guy I'm really excited for, Miguel Sano of the Twins. He came up and had a great season last year with 18 home runs, 52 RBIs in 80 games. On base percentage was .385. He also had a strikeout problem, but he walked at a pretty good rate. I expect huge things from him this year. He has the potential to break top 3. I am all in on Sano this year. Number 6 on my list is an interesting player in Matt Carpenter, who went from 9 home runs, I think, in 2014 to 28 this year. Is the power for real? We saw his strikeout rate go up. He has one of the best batting eyes in baseball, which you can tell he was trying to hit the home runs because of that strikeout rate. And if it's real, he cements himself easily in the top 6 and could be in the conversation for top 5. I think if he can get that strikeout rate down and keep the home run power, he would be a great guy to get. I think he's going a little high right now in some of the mock drafts that I'm seeing, but if the power's for real, definitely a guy you need to watch. Number 7 on my list is Todd Frazier. This is a guy that I'm not totally convinced in going into this year, having been traded from the Reds to the White Sox. He steals okay. He had 35 home runs last year, but the average, I wish he would hit for a better average. His OBP was only .309 last year, and I don't like the move from the ballpark. I would try to avoid him if you can, especially with the depth and the other choices you have at third base this year. Number 8 is Kyle Seager for the Mariners. What Kyle Seager does is he gives you consistency. He's going to hit somewhere around 20 to 25 home runs. He's going to give you between 250, 270 average, somewhere in between there. He doesn't steal a lot, but he'll score runs, especially in the decent Mariners lineup, as you can see. And he's played over 155 games in the last 4 seasons. Career high in doubles, home runs last year. Going into his age 28 season, I don't know how much he can improve on these numbers. I think 30 home runs isn't out of the question. I don't think that's realistic. I think 25 home runs, and I think the RBI total will also go up this year. Number 9 on my list is Maikel Franco of the Phillies. Now, I would categorize him as a poor man's Miguel Sano. I liked what I saw from him last year. I think he'll hit between 20 and 25 home runs. He is stuck in that Phillies lineup. But I think I liked his doubles, 22 doubles in 80 games. Okay, OBP. He had a nice walk to strikeout rate. So if you can get him in the later rounds, if you haven't picked your third basemen yet, I mean, I would easily take him over guys like Beltre and such. Number 10 on my list is Adrian Beltre, who's on my regression candidates list. Home runs and OPS have fallen since 2012. He had under 290 for the first time since 2009, and he's entering his age 37 season. He's got Gallo behind him on the depth chart, and I really think this could be the last year he'll be wearing that Rangers uniform. I think a 280 average is reasonable. He could get back up to 20 home runs again, but around this pick, I'd rather go for the higher upside guys that are there at third base. Number 11 on my list is David Wright, who was injured most of last season, but he played well in the limited time he had, 289 average. With the resigning of Cespedes and Neil Walker in the lineup, the Mets lineup is looking okay, and he's always hit for average. The power, when I say power returning, I'm not saying 25 home runs, but if he can get back up to 20 home runs with that average, he's going to be a decent third baseman for you. Number 12 on my list is Mike Moustakas, who finally broke out last year after so many disappointing seasons. I don't completely trust him going in, especially that average, going in 2016. But if he can replicate what he had last year in terms of home runs, RBIs, I don't think he can replicate the average. I think that's out of the question. But he could be a sneaky late round pick. I just need one more season of something like this for me to completely trust him. Number 13 on my list is Evan Longoria, who I would avoid unless there's not really any other great options at third base. I mean, I don't think you should wait this long to get your third baseman. 21 home runs last year was his lowest total in any season he played over 100 games. He's been declining that average. The OBP is down. I am not confident he can hit over 20 home runs this season. I mean, it's not out of the question. I just wouldn't want to bet on it. Number 14 is Justin Turner, who I put here. He is on my shortstop rankings, but he's not shortstop eligible in some leagues, which is why I have him here. He's going to be the Dodgers third baseman this year. He's going to give you 15 to 20 home runs. If he is shortstop eligible, he gives you good slugging percentage, but if he's third base, he doesn't stand out. He hit 340 in 109 games for the Dodgers in 2014. He qualifies on multiple positions, which is his greatest strength, especially if you need a bench bat. Like, I would look at Justin Turner for that because of where he can fill in. Number 15 on my list is Matt Duffy of the Giants, who had a pretty good season last year. 295 average, 12 home runs, 77 RBIs, 12 stolen bases. He actually had, between 2013 and 2014, a combined 45 steals in the minors, so I don't think those steals are out of line with what he can do. He could possibly reach 20. I think 15 is a more realistic expectation for this year. The thing with Duffy is he needs that high average to remain valuable. He's okay in home runs, okay in RBIs, but it's the average that helps him stand out in a position that arguably has the most power at any position this year. And that was my third baseman rankings. If you have any questions about your fantasy team, you can email me them at fantasyaid1@gmail.com, or you can comment them below. I also have a Facebook page, Fantasy Aid at Facebook, facebook.com/fantasyaid. So if you want to join there to have interesting conversations, see some articles I post, just join there. Thanks for watching.